I've been to 63 countries, I've lived overseas for over 10 years, and I'm going to tell you why you should not plan your Lord of the Rings New Zealand trip on your own. Hi, I'm Rocky D'Amico, and I'm a fantasy travel advisor. That means I plan epic trips for nerds just like you. Lord of the Rings tours, Harry Potter adventures, Game of Thrones location pilgrimages, you name it. And in this video, I'm sharing my story about why I became a travel advisor, and more importantly, why you might need one on your next adventure. Let's dive in. So let me start with how I got here. Like I said, I've been to 63 countries. I've lived in multiple countries overseas for more than a decade of my life. I'm a certified leisure travel specialist and a New Zealand advanced specialist, which basically means I really know New Zealand inside and out. But here's the thing. I'm also a massive fantasy nerd. Lord of the Rings, obsessed. Harry Potter, love it. Game of Thrones, don't even get me started. And when I started traveling, I realized something. Fantasy fans don't travel like normal people. We don't just want to see beautiful landscapes. We want to stand where Frodo stood at Mount Doom. We want to visit Hogwarts, or at least the real-life filming locations. We want to walk the streets of King's Landing and Dubrovnik. And planning those trips, it's complicated, like really complicated. I've watched friends try to plan their own Lord of the Rings tours in New Zealand. They'd spend hours researching. How do I get to Hobbiton? Where exactly did they film Rivendell? Can I actually visit Mount Sunday where Edoras was? And then they'd either give up because it was too overwhelming or book some generic New Zealand tour that barely scratched the surface of the filming locations. That really frustrated me because I knew how to do it. I've been there. I've done the research. I had the connections. So I started Flights and Fables to solve this exact problem. I wanted to create a travel agency that understood fantasy fans, that knew the difference between a casual tourist and someone who wanted to fully immerse themselves in Middle-earth. Someone that could plan a Harry Potter London trip that goes way beyond just visiting London. And I realized I'm not just planning trips, I'm making dreams come true. And that's what gets me out of bed every morning, knowing that I'm helping someone stand at the edge of Mount Doom, or walk through the Forbidden Forest filming locations, or cruise past medieval castles on the Rhine River. It's a pretty cool job, right? Now here's something important you need to know about how I work. I am not a tour operator. I don't sell one specific package or product. Instead, I'm an independent travel advisor. And that means I compare multiple tour companies, multiple itineraries, multiple options, and then I help you choose the best one for your trip. Think of me like a personal shopper, but for fantasy travel. Some of my favorite partners include CIE, Europe Express, Viking River Cruises, and AMA Waterways for those castle-filled river cruises. I use Globus and a whole network of local guides in New Zealand, UK, and Japan. So what does that actually mean for you? When you work with me, here's what happens. First, we have a consultation. It's free, by the way, where I learn about your dream trip, what fantasy worlds you love, what your budget is, how much time you have, what kind of traveler you are. Second, I design a custom itinerary. Maybe that's a fully guided Lord of the Rings tour. Maybe it's a self-drive adventure through the Scottish Highlands. Maybe it's a river cruise that stops at 10 different medieval castles. It really all depends on you. Third, I handle all the logistics. Booking tours, arranging transportation, making sure you don't miss that one specific Game of Thrones filming location you've been dreaming about. And then fourth, I'm available throughout your trip. Something goes wrong, you have a question, I'm an email or a phone call or a text away. Basically, I take the stress out of planning so you can focus on the fun part, getting excited about your trip. And because I specialize in fantasy travel specifically, I know things that most travel advisors don't. I know which Lord of the Rings filming locations are worth the drive and which ones you can skip. I know the best time of year to visit Hobbiton so it looks just like the Shire from the movies. I know which Harry Potter tours in the United Kingdom are tourist traps and which ones are actually magical. That kind of insider knowledge you can't get from your generic travel websites or even from most travel advisors. Now I get it. You might be thinking, Rocky, I can just plan this myself. Why would I pay someone to do it? And look, I'm not going to lie to you. Some people can successfully plan their own fantasy trips. But here's what I see happen over and over again. Mistake number 1, underestimating the time investment. Planning a good Lord of the Rings tour in New Zealand can take 20, 30, 40 hours of research. That's a part-time job. Most people don't have that kind of time. Mistake number 2, missing the hidden gems. There are filming locations in New Zealand that aren't even advertised anywhere. If you don't know where to look, you'll miss them. Mistake number 3, booking things in the wrong order. Maybe you book your flights before you realize Hobbiton tours sell out months in advance. Now you're stuck either changing expensive flights or missing out on Hobbiton entirely. And then mistake number 4, not knowing which questions to ask. Should you do North Island or South Island first? How many days do you actually need? Which tour operators are reputable? If you don't know the industry, you don't even know what you don't know. So when do you really need someone like me? You need a travel advisor if you have a specific fantasy destination in mind. Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, and you want to do it right. If you value your time more than saving a few $100 on planning. If you want insider access, special tours, local guides, hidden locations. If you're planning a complex multi-country trip. If this is a bucket list trip and you can't afford to mess it up. On the other hand, you might not need me if you genuinely love spending dozens of hours researching, and some people do. If you're doing a very simple, straightforward trip, or if you're extremely budget conscious and willing to sacrifice quality for cost. I'm not here to convince everyone they need a travel advisor, but if you're nodding your head at those first few points, then yeah, we should talk. Here's the thing people don't realize. A good travel advisor often saves you money. How, you might be asking? I know which tours give the best value for money. Sometimes I can get you perks and upgrades you wouldn't get on your own. I prevent expensive mistakes like booking non-refundable hotels in the wrong location. I can save you time, which is worth something. And plus, I charge a planning fee based on the complexity of your trip, and I earn commission from the tour operators and vendors I work with. So you're not paying double, you're paying for my expertise, and I'm making sure you get the best possible experience. All right, so here's what I want you to do next. If you're dreaming about a fantasy travel adventure, whether that's walking through Middle-earth, exploring Hogwarts filming locations, or standing where the Night King stood in Iceland, I want to help you make it happen. Step 1, book a free consultation with me. Seriously, it's free. We'll talk about your dream trip, your budget, your timeline, no pressure, no obligation. Just a conversation between two fantasy nerds. You'll find that link in the description below. And then step number 2, download my free Lord of the Rings New Zealand travel guide. It's packed with everything you need to know about planning a Lord of the Rings trip. Filming locations, logistics, budgeting tips, and more. Again, totally free. Link is in the description. And step 3, subscribe to this channel. I'm going to be sharing more videos about fantasy travel destinations, travel planning tips, and behind the scenes looks at what it's like being a fantasy travel advisor for nerds. Look, life is short. If you've been dreaming about visiting Hobbiton or Hogwarts or the Wall from Game of Thrones, don't let planning overwhelm you. Don't let it stay a dream forever. Let me handle the logistics. You focus on getting excited. I'm Rocky D'Amico from Flights and Fables, and I'll see you in the next video.